So how do you give emotional freedom to a partner? We first kind of have to think about, well, what is emotional freedom, generally speaking? And, what is emotional freedom in a relationship? When you have an avoidant partner and they ask for space, or even you are asking them for more closeness, you're both wanting to shift something about the way you feel in each other's presence. You're trying to find a state of inner balance. And what is a feeling? A feeling is energy moving through your body. And so it's balanced when there is an established natural ebb and flow, right? There's a rhythm of ebb and flow. When we are seeking to negotiate something in our environment to shift our inner balance, it's because something about that flow has gotten blocked, constricted, or obstructed. And so the way we organize our energy really has a lot to do with the way we experienced it in our childhoods and found some kind of balance through various coping skills, which are just consistent ways of organizing mental, emotional, psychic, and physical energy. I'm going to pull out my whiteboard to explain this. We're going to talk about this in terms of energy, because I just have found that this is the most useful way to think about it. So we may find that our energy responding to our early environment, it responds to our early environments through rhythms of, let's call it overactivation or underactivation. And you could liken that to a state of sameness or compensation. So am I meeting the energy that I'm encountering by matching the energy, or am I trying to balance it by compensating for it? Okay. And usually we slip into these rhythms of sameness or compensation to preserve whatever our connections were to our attachment figures. So for example, let's say we're going to look at high energy or intense energy first. Okay. So let's say high or intense energy is like chaotic. Maybe it's very charged. Maybe it's confusing. Maybe there's no boundaries. Maybe you feel crowded out, right? No room for you. That kind of energy, I'm just going to draw a circle here. That kind of energy looks something like this, right? It doesn't stay in the lines. It's really kind of all over the place. Feels hectic, chaotic. So this is the way the energy feels in the body and in the family system. That's our high energy, intense energy. Let's say you grew up in this kind of environment. Now, we might say, what if we're going to use compensation to maintain our attachment relationship? In this case, compensation would be to make ourselves small, right? We're just going to keep ourselves tightly held in, nice and small, so we're not a burden. We get out of the way. We're trying to not rock the boat. This would be a way of compensating or underactivation, right? We're deactivating to compensate for the overactivation going on around us. So in this way, we're trying to avoid conflict and make things easier by just being overly accommodating. We don't rock the boat so that they don't toss us out of it, right? So this is compensation. Now, on the other hand, we might choose sameness. We might choose to match their energy in order to maintain our relationships. So we rise up to meet that challenge. We match them with that energy. What's that going to look like? Well, it's going to look like, oh yeah, that you think so? Try me, right? See what happens. Okay, so we match them instead. And while this may increase the conflict or accelerate the conflict, this is when we have escalating arguments, you may feel the contact while arguing. Arguing may be the only time that you actually feel connected with someone, because every other time maybe they feel emotionally checked out or not present or what have you. So this is how you maintain the attachment connection, because through the arguing and through the conflict, you actually connect. And this is like when a child acts out to get their parents' attention. This is that sameness versus compensation. So we're starting to create a vocabulary for the way energy moves, relevant to attachment styles, okay? So now let's look at the other situation. So let's say we have low, or let's call it more diffuse or inactive energy or underactive energy, okay? So this is going to look like emotional distance. It could be like understimulated, isolated. This could be like a lack of contact. So instead of everybody's all mixed up, nobody knows where the boundaries are between anyone, the lines are so confusing. In this case, everybody is their own island, right? Nobody's really connected. It's unclear what the relationships are to each other. We question whether we really need anything. There's a lack of stimulation. It's almost, if this is a burning forest, this is a frozen tundra. And so how do we compensate in that kind of energy? So remember, over here we made ourselves small because we didn't want to rock the boat. Now to compensate for this type of energy, let's say this is us, right? So to compensate for this type of energy, we might overreach. We try to be the glue. We're trying to be the glue for everyone. We want to become the fulcrum that weighs everybody's relationship in the system, manages everybody's relationship in the system. You're doing all the emotional labor. And if you worry that, well, if I stop doing that, then my family would fall apart or disappear, or people wouldn't connect, and you'd be right. So this is that overreaching. That's overcompensating, doing too much, taking on a lot. That's that compensatory kind of thing. And so that can be exhausting, right? That can lead to high stress and burnout situations too. Now, on the other hand, what if we're going to match them? Maybe we decide, this whole emotionally distant, dismissive, cut off kind of thing, fine. If I can't beat them, join them. And so now you become very self-contained, you become distant. And so through life, you just kind of like ping pong, one relationship to the next, never really feeling quite grounded or settled in anything, never really quite committing to anything because you're worried, oh, well, if I stop here, these are these other options. Maybe there's something else out there. And so you're always just sort of wandering. You don't really feel kind of connected to things, and you struggle to make decisions because there's no one clear pathway and there's no real sense of connection to anything. So this can lead to that, especially in severe cases, this can lead to a sense of depersonalization, derealization, feeling disembodied, feeling really isolated and disconnected. And so even when you do connect with someone, you feel alone in a relationship, and that can be a very isolated type of feeling. So this is our sameness or compensation, right? So I hope that that's helpful. So the thing that I would really, note about this is that whether we are using sameness or compensation, it's really all different ways of trying to facilitate expansion and contraction, right? A natural ebb and flow of energy. This is the means by which we are trying to get into that state of balance so that we could connect in the ways that we found to connect in these high intensity or low intensity environments. But it's all this dance of moving towards and pulling back, and in service of this balance of connection and separateness to get together, apart. Ultimately, if we can find a natural rhythm and balance that feels good to us, this is emotional freedom. Now, in order to experience this, we kind of have to identify the core need. So when you envision an ideal relationship, how do you want to feel in the presence of your partner? Actually, you can type that there in the chat. When you envision your ideal relationship, what are the primary feelings that you want to have when you're in the presence of your partner? It usually boils down to one of two things, and that is, I want to feel safe, right? Or I want to feel free. Some people need to feel safe before they can feel free, and that's usually our folks that have anxious attachment. They crave that emotional security. For folks that have more avoidant attachment style, they need to feel free before they can feel safe. Once they feel free, then they can feel safe. And so when, for example, an avoidant partner asks for space, what they're really saying is, can you give me the emotional freedom so that I can feel safe with you? What does that mean? Remember, emotional freedom is a degree of energetic intensity. So let's translate that into the day-to-day. When you are with your partner sharing the same space, are you evaluating how much attention that they are paying to you? Are you ruminating about what you need and that you need a lot more of it and you're not getting it from them? Are you critically weighing the relationship against a standard of what do you think it should be in your head instead of really enjoying it for what it is in this moment? Do you feel as though you are strategizing your next move to get them to love you more, want you more, be closer to you than they already are? Are you assuming that your happiness is completely dependent upon their approval or their level of attraction to you? And so as you're going and ruminating all this stuff, here's what your energy is doing. Even if you're sitting here saying nothing with a smile on your face, I'm giving them all the space. I'm not calling them. I'm not messaging them. I'm giving them all the space that they need. I'm not going to be the needy one. I will not be needy. I know if I'm needy, it'll push them away and I'm not going to express my needs. Oh, but I really need this and I really want this. And I'm so resentful because I'm not getting what I want, right? And so this energy just grows and grows and grows. And so even if you're in a room and you're just being quiet, they're still going to feel that. They're still going to sense that energy. And so when they say they're looking for a degree of emotional freedom, it's that they need more spaciousness, because when we have that kind of energy going on, it fills up a room. Your body and your aura is going to be vibrating with it, which is why we often hear avoidants using words like, I feel smothered. And so they can sense that energy. And this is what I call emotional crowding. Now, what's the opposite of that? Well, you are able to have your own pursuits. You can be in the same space and parallel play. You can be in the vicinity of one another and not have to be attending to each other all the time. You can have fun in the moment without having to hold it in comparison to what you think it should be, or without abandoning the present moment and jumping to the future too quickly. Where's this going? I need to know where this is going. Those are essentially just manifestations of having that sense of soul-centered security, residing in your sovereignty. And these are just little snippets of moments that can create a type of relaxed energy. And when we can relax our energy in this way, this creates spaciousness in the relationship. And that is basically emotional freedom. And when we create spaciousness between us, energetically speaking, it also creates room for them to move towards you. And so tapping into this soul-centered security that I like to talk about helps partners to feel both safe and free. Because when your anchor is your higher self, your own spiritual core, let's say, essence, it gives both you and your partner room to breathe. So how do we accomplish that? Well, we just let go of this need to strategize everything and accept our inherent worthiness and lovability, and we adopt the idea that love is ubiquitous. We are here to be discerning and to make good choices for ourselves. And no amount of accepting someone is going to jam a round peg into a square hole. We are here to make decisions about what is and is not aligned with our soul curriculum in this lifetime. And sometimes a partner is just not aligned, but they are here to show us how to get more in alignment with who and what we are, so that we can make better decisions and choices in our partners moving forward. Sometimes this is the hardest thing we will ever have to learn or to do, and that readies you for a profound experience of growth and spiritual expansion overall. So I hope that's helpful. Also, remember to subscribe and ring the bell for notifications. I put out videos once a week and I wouldn't want you to miss out.